Theater. Thank you so much for joining us today. Your curiosity is wonderful. And just like you, it was my very own curiosity about nature that led me to working right here at SeaWorld. We receive so many questions about killer whales each and every day from kids and grown-ups of all ages. We gathered all those questions together and put them right here on my Killer Whales Up postbook so that I can share them with you today. So, if you're all ready to get started, it is my pleasure to welcome back to main stage my good friend, Trainer Carrie.
Hey again, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Awesome. We're all so excited to have you here today for a presentation of killer whales up close. Here at SeaWorld San Antonio, we have a pod, or family, of 5 whales with 2 males and 3 females. And they range in ages from our youngest killer whale. She is only 2.5 years old, to our oldest killer whale, who is 25 years old. So, what do you guys say? Are you ready to meet the killer whales? Awesome. First up today, we will be introducing you to one of our males. At 17 years old, he is about 20 feet long. His name actually means unique in Kyuquot Indian. He is very unique and so much fun to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome right here at main stage, Tuar. Next up today, we will be meeting our other killer whale male. Now, if you thought Tuar was impressive, wait until you see him. At 24 years old, he is 21 feet long, weighing over 9,000 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kyuquot.
They sure are. You guys can see how different each whale is. Did you know that there are even bigger differences in the wild? In fact, would you believe me if I told you that there are different kinds of killer whales? Scientists refer to them as ecotypes. They live in different habitats, they have different body types, and they even pursue different kinds of food. Now, although killer whale ecotypes are different, they're still considered members of one species, or Sinus orca. One of the questions we get asked all the time is how big does a killer whale grow to be? Well, the answer to that question would depend on which ecotype we're talking about. So the 16-foot female in Iceland or a 30-foot male in Antarctica? Let's take a closer look.
The wonderful thing about killer whales, no matter which type, is that they are found throughout our global ocean, from the Arctic to the Antarctic, and literally everywhere in between. They are found in so many different habitats and depend on such a variety of marine life for survival that killer whales are more intertwined with the fate of our ocean than any other marine animal. Truly, these awesome animals are the living symbol of our ocean, representing so much more than their own species.
Once again, these are our 2 boy killer whales, Kyuquot and Tuar.
Incredible, guys. Okay, let's see what other questions we have in here. Here we go. So many people wonder about our trainers. In fact, raise your hands if you've ever thought about being an animal trainer. That's quite a few of you. You guys should definitely be part of our dedicated team to interact with our family of whales every day. You've already met Carrie. But Carrie, who do you have joining you today?
Thanks, Annie. Today we have joining us 2 of our very lovely trainers. Over on my right-hand side is Luke, and over on my left-hand side is Lisa. They are just a few more of our very dedicated trainers here at Shampoo Theater.
Our killer whale trainers are so passionate about what they do here every day, and that makes me think of another great question. Do the trainers talk to the whales? Carrie, I'll let you answer that one.
That is a great question. So we don't actually talk to the killer whales like you and I talk to each other, but we've taught them a variety of different signals that helps us to communicate with them. If you turn your attention to Luke and Lisa, they will be demonstrate a few of these signals. If we bend at the waist, that actually asks the whales to nod their heads in an up and down motion. All of the training we do here at SeaWorld is through positive reinforcement, which simply means when the killer whales do a behavior correctly or what we ask, they get reinforced with food, ice, back rubs, and many other things. Another behavior, if we raise an arm in the air, the killer whales will actually mirror their trainers. We've even taught them to wave. question that we're able to answer very important questions through research.
Here at SeaWorld, we have a unique opportunity to conduct research about killer whales, asking important questions that can only be answered in a setting like this. So much of what we learn here is being used to help killer whales in the wild. Of course, there are other questions that can only be explored by studying whales in the ocean. By exploring questions both at SeaWorld and in the wild, our combined research gives all of us a better understanding of killer whales and the places they live.
Now that's what I call working together. Research flowing in both directions, from our part to the wild and back again. That way everyone benefits. Now isn't that a lot of questions? Believe it or not, we get them every day.
We sure do, and to answer your questions, killer whales communicate with each other using all sorts of sounds. Now, let's take a listen to what Kyuquot and Tuar have to say.
Each killer whale, each pod has its own dialect and its own unique set of calls. Another way they communicate is by using their bodies, as demonstrated by these neck slaps at the sides of the pool. When a whale uses their body to slap the water, it creates a commotion above and below the surface. Now this individual wonders why whales jump, and I just happen to have that emoji. Take a look. A jump like that is called a breach. It makes a sound on top of the water. It could be to show their excitement, to display a little power, or to even get the attention of the other whales. Other ways that whales communicate include blowing bubbles, bumping into each other, or scratching each other with their teeth, causing rake marks. Those are the multi-line marks that you may see on the skin of some killer whales and other dolphin species. Just one of the ways that these animals display dominance over one another, both in the wild and here at SeaWorld. Now we just learned that killer whales communicate with each other through vocalization and body language. Do you guys remember how we communicate with them? That's right, through signals. Here at SeaWorld, we communicate with our whales, and we want the next generation to be able to do the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to my favorite part of the show. In just a few moments, we will have 3 pre-selected volunteers joining our trainers and have the amazing opportunity of meeting our killer whales down at the glass. Over on the right-hand side of the stadium, we will be welcoming Hannah today, who will be meeting Kyuquot. And over on the left-hand side of the stadium, we have Noah and Aubrey, who will be meeting Tuar. So what do you guys say? Let's introduce yourselves to the killer whales by giving them a great big wave hello. Great job, guys. You're using the exact same hand signals that we use to communicate with them. All right, next, let's have you all spin in a circle and see what the whales do. Great job. That's another one of those mimic behaviors that we talked about. All right, guys, we have one more thing to say to the killer whales. And when I count to 3, I want you to give that secret hand signal that I taught you before the show. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Great job. Remember, everywhere is a 24-hour splash zone here at Shamu Theater. And as a special memory of meeting Kyuquot and Tuar today, we would like you all to have this very special whale tail necklace. Let's give them a great big round of applause.
Wow, and it looks like we just may have some future animal trainers joining us today. Great job, guys. Now, some of you may have heard about Kamea at SeaWorld San Diego and her calf, Kamea. our SeaWorld social media fans actually helped to name Amaya. Here at SeaWorld, we've watched newborn calves rely on their mothers for everything, from their very first moments of birth.
As a calf grows and gains some independence, it is looked after by other ways in the pod too. They help the mother protect the calf, teach it survival skills, and show the calf how to romp and play. Killer whales live in family-like groups known as pods. Like human families, their pods can range in size, from just a handful of whales up to a few dozen.
Now that you all got a chance to learn a little bit more about Kamea and her calf Amaya at SeaWorld San Diego, I am so excited to introduce you to the newest member of our SeaWorld San Antonio Killer Whale Pod. She was born right here in this very pool on December 6, 2013 to her mother Takara. Now, at 2.5 years old, Kamea is weighing about 1,700 pounds and still growing. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamea! It has been such a privilege to see Kamea grow and learn each and every day, both from her pod members and her team of trainers. We hope you guys will continue to join us here at SeaWorld to see how much she will learn in the future.
Now, seeing Kamea like that reminds me of another really important question. Here we go. Did having a killer whale breeding program here at SeaWorld help whales in the wild? Absolutely. Our successful breeding program has helped us to understand the developmental needs of pregnant mothers, newborn calves, and young killer whales. It's critical information because this is a time that killer whales are most vulnerable in the wild. Gaining this type of knowledge is only possible due to research that we're able to do right here at SeaWorld.
Recently, SeaWorld worked with researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, to help them develop a model for identifying when a killer whale is pregnant by looking at aerial images of the animal in the wild. Prior to this cooperative effort, where SeaWorld provided direct, unparalleled access to our pregnant whales, researchers had no solid way of knowing whether or not a female in the wild was carrying a calf.
Even though SeaWorld made the announcement that we will no longer be breeding our whales, we will still continue to share what we have learned throughout the past 30 years with the scientific community in order to better care for and understand the challenges that killer whales face around the world.
Carrie, thank you, thank the other animal trainers, and thank the whales for your contribution to a better understanding of these amazing animals. Now, all this talk about research, guys, reminds me of another really neat question. Who takes care of you, Shamu? I love this question because it allows us to give you a peek at just how much we care about these extraordinary animals. So, Carrie, are the trainers ready?
We sure are, and we love this question too because one of the most important parts of our day here with the killer whales is actually taking care of them. Now, if you turn your attention to around the pool, over there on the right-hand side, Doug has asked Takara for a behavior we call a fluke present. When the killer whales learn this behavior, we can actually collect voluntary blood samples right there from their tail flukes. We have a team of veterinarians here at SeaWorld that are able to come down whenever we need. Other behaviors, such as slide-outs, demonstrated on the left-hand side of the pool, are important because we can actually get the weights of the killer whales on a weekly basis. This helps us to ensure that all of the whales are maintaining a healthy weight and that our younger killer whales are developing properly. High-energy behaviors, such as fast swims, breaches, and bows, are behaviors seen out in the ocean and here at SeaWorld. Turn your attention to the center of the pool as Kamea demonstrates one of these high-energy behaviors. Next up, Takara is going to show us just how powerful these animals really are. At 24 years old, she weighs 5,000 pounds, so it will take all of her muscle to get herself up and out of the pool. She'll dive deep to the bottom and use all of her momentum to launch herself up and out of the air. All of these high energies you see here and many more help us to ensure that the whales receive all of the exercise they need every single day.
Wow, that was so cool, guys. Now, Carrie, Carrie, I know that with all of these high energy behaviors, our guests are probably wondering just how much these whales need to eat each day to stay healthy.
Well, Annie, just like you and I, each killer whale does have different dietary needs. As I mentioned earlier, we have a pod of 5 killer whales. Kamea, the youngest, she is 2.5 years old, weighs 1,700 pounds. She eats 70 pounds of fish every single day. Now, Kyuquot that we met earlier, our 24-year-old male, weighing 9,200 pounds, he eats 170 pounds of restaurant-quality fish every single day. And it's important to note that the whales receive all of their food each day, no matter what they do.
Now, because we've been able to determine just how much these whales need to eat throughout their lives, researchers in the field can use this knowledge to determine if ocean habitats are healthy enough for killer whale populations to thrive. And that type of knowledge is invaluable.
You know, food, exercise, and physicals from our team of veterinarians aren't all the killer whales need. Each whale's well-being is so important to us. We want to make sure that their minds are stimulated and challenged as well. They need the type of mental enrichment that comes through learning, interaction, and of course, our favorite, play. If you turn your attention to the pool right now, Emily and Doug are interacting with Takara and Sakari with just a few of the environmental enrichment devices, or EEDs for short, that we have here for the killer whales. Now, an EED is really just a fancy word for killer whale toy. Over there on the left-hand side, Sakari is playing with one of their favorites, a planter. Now, this toy is so much fun because we can actually hide a lot of fun things inside of that toy for them to find. Some things we can put in there that the whales really seem to enjoy eating are ice, jello, kelp, and even marshmallows have been approved by our team of veterinarians for the killer whales to have. Over there on the right-hand side of the pool, Doug is playing with Takara with what we call a splash bucket, simply named because we use it to splash the whales and our guests. Now, killer whales really enjoy tactile, so you might see the trainers every once in a while interacting with the whales by giving them back rubs, or even the splash bucket is one way. But you know, with all the toys and games that we provide for the killer whales, the best enrichment still seems to come through social interaction with the other whales and our team of experienced trainers.
Now that looked like a lot of fun, and here's a fun question. I know all the kids out there are probably wondering who would win if a great white shark squared off with a killer whale. Who thinks the shark would win? Raise your hands. Who thinks the killer whale would win? Raise your hands. You guys are right. You see, a shark hunts alone and a killer whale hunts with a pod of killer whales. So, it's not even a competition, guys. Killer whales have even been known to hunt blue whales. Do you guys know how big a blue whale is? Over 80 feet. It's one of the largest animals to have ever existed on the planet. Killer whales can hunt these huge animals because they coordinate, collaborate, and cooperate. They work together as a team to overcome challenges much larger than themselves. We can learn a lot from the whales about how to overcome the challenges that our oceans face. In fact, we collaborate like the whales do. We can change the fate of our oceans and our world. Awesome, we've got some more great questions. These are really specific questions that come in every day. And here's the first one. Why does some of their dorsal fins curve? That's a great question. You see, dorsal fins have no skeletal support to support their height and weight. They're made completely of connective tissue. So, if an animal spends more time near the surface of the water, that connective tissue may weaken and the fin will bend. We see curved dorsal fins in the wild as well as here at SeaWorld. Next question, how fast can they swim? Hey Carrie, how fast can they swim?
Well, depending on their body weight, killer whales can reach speeds close to 30 miles per hour, making them one of the fastest predators found in the ocean. Turn your attention to the pool as Kyuquot demonstrates just how quickly he can swim. Notice how he uses his powerful tail flukes to propel himself steering. Killer whales even have a body shape that's designed for fast swimming, which helps them to glide through the water by reducing drag.
All right, guys, we've got a couple more questions. Here's the first one. How much water can their tails splash? Well, their tails, or flukes as they're called, are strong enough to splash a whole lot of water about halfway up the stance. Last question. If all the whales splashed all at once, could they get everyone in the audience wet? Well, maybe not everyone. More than